Hi everybody, hope you're well. This is part 19 of 31 days in August. Yes, I'm 2/3 of the way there. I didn't realise how much work would actually go into doing these videos. A video a day. Doing it once or twice a week isn't too bad, but doing a video every single day is quite exhausting actually. But I've been helped by you guys out there, by all your comments and the thumbs up and everyone who's subscribed, and also people who've been giving me 2 numbers to choose a random comic from my comic collection. Today is one of those days. Today is a viewer's choice random selection video, and today's comic was picked by Gambit896. Alright mate, how's it going? Hope you're well. And he chose Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 28. Right, if you don't know who Nick Fury, sorry. If you don't know who that was his brother. Nick Shirley, that was his brother. That was his weird brother. Yeah, if you don't know Nick Fury, he started out in 1963 in his own comic, which was called Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos, which was written by the great Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, and it showed his exploits and his platoon's exploits in the Second World War. He then later on went to the CIA and become an agent for them, and then he became an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I could probably tell you an acronym, but I can't remember. I'm sure there's people out there who's shouting out what the acronym means and that, but I really can't remember off the top of my head. I'm going to have to Google it. Let's have a look. At least I'm honest. At least I'm not going to sit there and go, I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to find out yourself. I could have made myself look really smart, but why should I? It stands for, it originally stood for Supreme Headquarters International Espionage Law Enforcement Division. Yeah. Now it stands for Strategic Hazard Intervention Espionage Logistics Direction. Alright, strangely enough, the various film set in the Marvel Universe, it actually stands for Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division. So there you go. I didn't even know it myself. See, the internet is a wonderful thing. See, we find out things together in this thing. But yeah, in this comic, he is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's not the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. just yet. And when we start the story, we find out that Hydra has hijacked and destroyed S.H.I.E.L.D.'s base, and there's only Nick Fury, a few S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and Wolverine who are still about, who can help defeat Hydra. They hijack a plane to chase after the Hydra agents who are in this like Hydra plane. And when they hijack a plane off from the US Army or Air Force, if you will, and they get chased by the US Air Force in through the sky and that. There's an awful lot of banter between the people in the plane for Nick Fury. They're all wondering if Nick Fury has actually completely lost his mind, whether they're doing the right thing, chasing after Hydra and trying to stop them once and for all, or whether it's just Nick Fury going gung-ho and trying to do this thing because of what Hydra did. It's more like a revenge thing for Nick Fury rather than more than anything else. They get to within a few 100 meters of the plane, the plane that the Hydra agents are in, and Nick Fury orders everybody to bail out the ship. When just as everybody's about to get out, Wolverine realizes that there's not enough parachutes. In fact, there's one less parachute, and that's when Nick Fury pushes Wolverine out of the plane and dive bombs the hydroplane with the jet that he's in. Just as he's about to crash into the hydroplane, he pulls the emergency lever, and his seat gets jettisoned out of the plane, and both the hydroplane and the plane that Nick Fury and his crew was in blow up in midair. And strangely enough, as Nick Fury is hurtling through the air in the seat from the plane, he shouts out, "Eat your heart out, Bruce Willis." So I take it this must have been made round about the time of Die Hard, something like Die Hard 2 or something like that. Seriously, look, I'll show you that. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that. Eat your heart out, Bruce Willis. Kaboom. Or even crackoom, even. Yeah, they all land. Understandably, Wolverine's not particularly happy with Fury for what he's doing. In fact, he's furious at Fury. Yes, I made a little joke there. Yes, very little joke. But they've still got to make it to the Hydra base, which is yeah, very close to them now. One thing I found out about Wolverine from reading this comic, and also reading comics recently, especially Avengers vs X-Men, which I think it was Avengers vs X-Men number 5 or 6, and that is Wolverine doesn't like polar bears, because in order to get closer to the Hydra base, with all the obviously armed guards and that around there, Wolverine decides that it would be a great idea for Nick Fury to wear a polar bear skin, which Wolverine gladly kills and skins for Nick Fury. Somehow this polar bear wearing Nick Fury disguise fools the Hydra guards just enough for Nick Fury and Wolverine to get close enough to him to completely muller them, and that is where the story ends in this comic, with Nick Fury doing an amazingly weird jumping thing with the polar bear skin flapping behind him, shooting off a machine gun, and Wolverine schnicking his way through the guards. And I'll show you this picture because I didn't think I would ever see this. Nick Fury wearing a polar bear. There you go. I know this is supposed to be a serious comic. I know it's supposed to be a very serious espionage and sort of super spy comic, but you really can't take it seriously when you see Nick Fury in a polar bear skin. And especially on the last page when you see Nick Fury doing that weird sort of like, it's the kind of jump. It's the kind of jump that you usually see people on stage when they're playing guitar in a rock group or something like that doing. It's like, yeah, like that sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah, on the whole, I enjoyed it. You know, I don't really go for espionage. Looking like one of the bloody Beatles. Yeah, I don't usually go for spy comics or espionage comics. I've had the fortunate task of, well, not task, but I've been able to read old Nick Fury comics, like the original Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. comics, and they were really interesting. I think more so for the artwork that was in them than the actual story. I liked reading the Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commando comics. They were quite interesting as well. More so from the sort of like the World War II perspective, than in considering as well that they weren't actually, Nick Fury wasn't actually created in or around the Second World War. He was created about 20 years after the Second World War finished. So you know, you had like the 60s viewpoint of the Second World War with the Nick Fury and Howling Commando stories and that. Yeah, as I said, this wasn't a bad comic. This wasn't a bad comic. It was a nice sort of spy story, espionage story, but I really just couldn't take it seriously at the end when, like I said, you saw Nick Fury jumping, wearing a polar bear skin around him. It just, I think it would have had better impact if maybe the polar bear the skin had fallen off and you saw Nick Fury with a machine gun, you know. But then that's just personal taste. Other than that, it was a good read. I mean, this is issue 28. I think I've got a few of these issues of this run of Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I'll probably pick up the rest, see if I can pick up the rest of these, just to see what the rest of them were like. Right, that is today's review video. Tomorrow will be part 20, which will be near enough 2/3 of the way there. What comic am I going to review? I have no idea until tomorrow morning when I wake up and I dive into my boxes behind me. You know, it's just a completely random choice as always. So thank you for watching. If you haven't already given me 2 numbers, or if you have already given me 2 numbers, or even if you've given me 2 numbers and I've picked out those numbers already, feel free to give me any 2 numbers, because the more numbers you give me, the more random it's going to be in the comic boxes behind me here. I need 2 numbers, one from 1 to 51, which corresponds to the comic boxes behind me, and I need another number between 1 and 300, which corresponds to the comics in the comic boxes there. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everyone for subscribing. Hope to see you all again tomorrow for some more randomness and comic book fun. And yeah, take care and ta-ta for now.